buy without paying a fine. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Amaya Ward.
And I'm Jimmy Wicks. We begin tonight with breaking news of a school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee. Metro Nashville Police Department says 6 people are dead, 3 9-year-old children, and 3 adults ages 60 to 61. The children in their school range from preschool to 6th grade. It happened at a private Christian school, and investigators say the shooter is a 28-year-old woman. Police say the woman died after being shot by the police.
OU Nightly reporter Bailey Coyle is following this story from our newsroom. She joins us live with the very latest information. Bailey.
Jimmy and Maya, police just identified all victims, and those students who were shot are all 9 years old, and the adults were 2 6-year-olds and a 61-year-old. Police also say the shooter was a former student of the school. And now we have some video from this morning from CNN, and this is going to be of students reuniting with their parents not long after the shooting took place. This is always an emotional scene to watch, and police say that they set up this unification center 2 miles from the school. Officers say they moved in swiftly and took immediate action against the shooter. Police have also revealed what types of weapons they say were used.
We know that she was armed with at least 2 assault-type rifles and a handgun.
President Biden was speaking at the Small Business Administration's Women Business Summit when he heard the news. He stopped in the middle of his speech to talk about the violence.
We have to do more to stop gun violence. It's ripping our communities apart, ripping the soul of this nation, ripping at the very soul of the nation.
Police say all the doors to the school were locked and that they are still investigating how she was able to get in the school and the motive of the shooting. And police are currently holding a press conference in Nashville, and we will have updated information as soon as it comes in. And this is the 129th shooting in the U.S. and the 19th school shooting this year. Reporting live in the newsroom, Bailey Coyle, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Bailey. Another huge national story that really hits close to home. Folks are picking up the pieces today after a deadly tornado outbreak across the South. CNN's Ivan Rodriguez reports on work to rebuild from the ground up.
Say, like a lazy Susie of a smoker.
Even though Joshua Haynes can't do much to physically build back the city of Rolling Fork, Mississippi, it didn't stop him from wanting to help a community in pain, one meal at a time.
I told my wife yesterday, hey, we ought to just go cook for him.
Haynes and his friends weren't the only ones wanting to help. It's the kind of gesture those who lost everything could appreciate.
And I can't find anything at all.
For Erwin Macon,
really can't recognize most of this stuff.
Everything he had was taken in an instant when the tornado that tore through this trailer park also claimed his home.
A lot of people are in a whole lot worse shape than I am. You know, losing everything, one thing, but being injured, some loss of life.
The strength shown throughout Mississippi since the tornado touched down is something Governor Tate Reeves says gives him hope that even in a time of crisis, people stick together.
What we've seen over the last 36 hours in Mississippi, on the one hand, has been heartbreaking to see the loss and devastation of these communities, but on the other hand, has been inspiring.
And even though all Macon could salvage from his property was a suitcase and a pair of sneakers, he also isn't giving up.
To come through this here, there is God.
In Rolling Fork, Mississippi, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
On Sunday afternoon, state and federal officials saw the damage for themselves. The director of FEMA says right now the greatest issue is housing everyone whose house was lost or damaged.
Our OU Nightly senior meteorologist, Catherine Liberta, is breaking down the storm's path. Catherine, what can you tell us?
That's right, Amaya. Over the weekend, there was a strong tornado outbreak in the southern part of the U.S., which included areas of Mississippi, Alabama, and even parts of Tennessee and Georgia. Over the weekend, there was a total of 40 reported tornadoes. Those were official storm reports by the National Weather Service. And I want to focus in on one specific storm, the Rolling Fork tornado. You can see that these official storm reports come from storm spotters, people just like you and me who are outside when these storms occur. And they see a tornado and they report it into the National Weather Service, and that helps them to determine the path of the storm. So this is the preliminary track that was released by the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, and they combined with the National Weather Service to determine that this was the preliminary track of that rolling fork tornado. If you can see, they suspect that it lifted up for just a bit before coming right back down, and this storm was catastrophic in its damage. So once the National Weather Service has a tornado come through, if you remember back in February, they sent out a team of surveyors to survey the damage. I went with them, and I was able to see how they make their determine the intensity of a tornado. In the February tornado here in Norman, they saw roofs torn off, mobile homes were destroyed, lots of trees down as well, and so they classified it as a strong EF2. Now, with these Mississippi tornadoes, especially this rolling fork tornado specifically, there were well-constructed homes that were completely leveled and destroyed. And so using the path of the tornado, using radar signatures and the damage they've determined, this was a Category 4 tornado. This is a preliminary damage. They'll continue to survey it. Back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. Back here in Norman, we are talking about a chance of severe weather later this week.
OU Nightly meteorologist Brendan Seau is keeping an eye on that and joins us for the first look at today's forecast. Braden?
Yeah, guys, right now across campus, we're looking at beautiful skies out there today, which is quite the difference from what we've seen the last several days. Temperatures right now are sitting in the upper 50s, again, under these beautiful skies. But as we take a look at the big picture across the U.S., you can see this large storm system across the western states, which will move eastward and bring us a chance for severe weather coming up this week. But we'll also be warming up, and then we have a beautiful weekend shaping up. Back over to you.
Thanks, Braden. A chemical spill in Pennsylvania is affecting drinking water. OU Nightly's Becca Yanez joins us from the News Center with that story and more headlines. Becca?
Yes, the city of Philadelphia is confident its tap water is safe to drink, at least through tonight. Thousands of gallons of latex product was dumped into the Delaware River. The city has been going back and forth on whether the water is safe, leaving residents concerned about what they're drinking. The shelves of bottled water at grocery stores are bare. Happening in Ukraine, the government is now asking the UN Security Council to condemn what is called Kremlin's nuclear blackmail. CNN sources report that this plan by the Russian president is a sign he's afraid of the losing war. The State Department says the U.S. does not plan to change its strategic nuclear posture. The Israeli government delays judicial overhaul after mass protests about getting rid of checks and balances in the government. These protests included strikes led by Israel's largest labor union, which caused the Israeli embassy in the U.S. to shut down. The embassy is now open after the prime minister announced delay in the court reforms. And in Paris, employees of the Louvre blocked the entrance to prompt museum doors to close its doors as workers protest against the government's unpopular pension reform plans. Amaya, Jimmy.
Thank you, Becca. A Chipotle in Maine closed their doors last year after employees joined together for a petition.
Now the popular food chain is paying the price. Find out the settlement when we come back.
And some Americans are feeling less generous. We'll tell you the reason why when OU Nightly returns.
Evening tornadoes tear through Oklahoma.
We have a tornado warning for Cleveland County.
The OU Nightly weather team was there before.
45 minutes away or less from these storms getting into campus.
During.
Plenty of people who, are living off campus. This storm is headed to you.
And after.
Again, sending news crews out to assess damage.
Always keeping the University of Oklahoma in focus.
Campus in the clear right now.
OU Nightly weather or Campus Weather Authority.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
A death row minister is suing the Department of Corrections for $10 million, saying he was defamed and is experiencing a lot of emotional stress. OU Nightly's Morgan Martin joins us with this story and more in today's Money Matters.
Reverend Jeff Hood was initially not allowed into the Oklahoma execution chamber back in January, after the DOC said in a release that he had prior arrests for anti-death emotional outbursts in other states. Hood says the accusations in the statement were false. The DOC says they do not comment on pending litigation. Switching gears, Chipotle is out a pretty penny, $240,000 to be exact, over union busting allegations. The settlement for former employees comes after the closure of a main storefront, about a month after employees filed their first petition to unionize. Chipotle says the closure was due to staffing issues and is settling to avoid litigation costs. The number of places accepting tips is on the rise, but gratuities are down. The amount of quick service restaurants providing the service is up 10% from 2020, but Americans are simply not tipping. As backlash grows, the tipping rate has dropped below 16%, and the rise in digital kiosks may be to blame for the tipping trend. And to streamline costs at Disney, the company will be laying off 7,000 employees before this summer. Amaya, Jimmy.
Thank you, Morgan. Now, usually OU and OSU are competing on the field and in the classroom. See how both universities are coming together for a good cause coming up next on OU Nightly.
And Braden is keeping an eye out on the incoming severe weather. What can you tell us?
Yeah, guys, coming up at the end of the week, both Thursday and Friday, we will have severe weather chances across the state. So we'll have more on that coming up on OU Nightly.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Evening tornadoes tear through Oklahoma.
We have a tornado warning for Cleveland County.
The OU Nightly weather team was there before.
45 minutes away or less from these storms getting into campus.
During.
Plenty of people who, are living off campus. This storm is headed to you.
And after.
Again, sending news crews out to assess damage.
Always keeping the University of Oklahoma in focus.
Campus in the clear right now.
OU Nightly weather or Campus Weather Authority.
Welcome back to OU Nightly, and as you can see right now across the state, we have quite the temperature spread here from the lower 50s up here in the Panhandle all the way up to the 70s here across southeastern Oklahoma. And with these warmer temperatures that we're going to be seeing moving in over the next couple of days comes another chance for some severe weather. This is on Thursday. We've got a 15% chance for severe weather across a large portion of western and central Oklahoma, And then as we head into Friday, you can see this threat starts to push a little farther to the east. So places like Tulsa, Muskogee, all included in that threat for severe weather on Friday. And whenever we look at the specific threats with this storm system, you can see we've got a tornado threat on the lower side as well as flooding, but hail and wind are both in the medium category, so that will be the biggest threat with this round of storms. And whenever we look at the futurecast, you can see as we head through the day on Thursday, a few pop-up showers and storms are possible, but by far the bulk of the activity comes in as we head into early Friday morning, and you can see as we move later into the day on Friday, this all starts to push eastward. And especially over here towards Arkansas and Missouri, we could be talking about a much more substantial risk for severe weather, but fortunately it looks like that more substantial risk will stay east of us this time. And as far as the rainfall goes, we're not looking at a whole lot of rainfall with this storm system. You can see here in Norman, not even getting up to 1/4 of an inch of rain, but by far the biggest chance for some rain will be here across the eastern part of Oklahoma. And as we look at the next 2 weeks, you can see that we have above average chances for precipitation here across the southern plains for the next 2 weeks, and we have above average temperatures for the next 2 weeks. So this could be meaning we are entering a pattern for more severe weather. Of course, it's springtime in Oklahoma, so always be prepared for that. And looking at lows tonight, you can see the Panhandle will be getting down into the teens, and here in central Oklahoma, we'll be sitting right above that freezing mark with some 40s out towards eastern Oklahoma. Highs tomorrow will rebound into the 50s. It'll be cooler than it is out there right now, but you can see most of us across the state will be in those 50s. And then looking at the next 7 days, you can see we've got temperatures in the 50s tomorrow with that storm system on Thursday, moving out by Friday. And then you can see temperatures starting to warm up as we head into next week. Jimmy and Amaya, over to you.
Thanks, Braden. OU is teaming up with OSU and the Oklahoma Blood Institute for a week-long blood drive starting today through Friday. Unlike the annual Bedlam blood drive competition, the goal is to donate as many units as possible between both schools to help people in the local community. After you give, they have free t-shirts and food to refuel your body. You can donate at the Armory from 10 to 4 any day, and one donation can save 3 lives.
And great news for almost everyone at OU who has parking tickets. A new move from the OU Food Bank can help you get rid of those fines without having to pay them at all. OU Nightly's Parker Ables is live at a popular spot for parking tickets with the story. Parker?
Jimmy, Amaya, usually if you see this yellow parking slip on your car, that's not a good thing. But now students can use it as a way to help people.
Government Association announced students no longer have to pay parking tickets. Instead, they can donate to the OU Food Pantry.
Students can go to the OU Foundation and donate about 80% of their ticket worth to the OU Food Pantry and then get their parking ticket dismissed.
As this new rule comes out, Matt Marks with the Food Pantry is thrilled about the decision.
It's a win-win. It's a win for OU Parking. It's a great partnership. And it's a win for the food pantry because students are donating right back here to campus to help all our students and staff in need.
And while getting a ticket isn't a student's favorite feeling, now it will give them a chance to make a difference.
They get a ticket, which is not fun to get. Then they can turn that, flip it, spin it in a positive way and say, I'll go out and go buy some cans, or I'll go make this financial donation to the pantry, send that confirmation in, and here you go.
The Food Pantry says 40% of students qualify for food stamps on campus.
Going to the food drive and donating there would be better because you're actually benefiting people who actually need the food, need the help, and it's a way just to give back to the community.
Students have 14 days to donate to the food pantry in order to get their parking ticket rescinded. Reporting live, Parker Ables, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Parker. Over the weekend, the #1 OU softball squad began the Big 12 portion of their schedule.
That's right, Amaya Pierce. Just how good were they?
We'll show just how good Patty's squad did in Iowa, and we're going to hear from a Heisman winner on how he'll be honored at this year's spring game. Sports is next.
Oh, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Hello, I'm Pierce Levelholtz, and it's time for sports. Sooner softball cannot stop winning. Over the weekend, Oklahoma took on the Iowa State Cyclones in their Big 12 opener in Ames. The Sooners swept the Cyclones with a combined score of 23-3 this weekend. OU turns their attention this weekend to a national championship rematch against Texas, with Game 1 taking place in OKC at the USA Softball Hall of Fame complex. This week, the #1 OU women's gymnastics team will start their postseason run for back-to-back national championships. This marks the 13th consecutive season that the Sooners have earned a #1 seed. Oklahoma will host the NCAA Regional at the Lloyd Noble Center and will compete in the second round on Thursday. Former Sooner quarterback Kyler Murray will have his Heisman statue unveiled at this year's spring game on April 22nd. Murray had a message for the Sooner faithful.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Kyler Murray here. I just want to let y'all know how excited I am to be coming back home for this year's spring game. The support that you've shown me over the years means so much to me and my family. To be able to come back home and celebrate, a Heisman winning season with my boys, my teammates, and the future means the world. So hopefully, we can pack out the Palace on April 22nd. Buy your tickets, make sure you show up and show out, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. Boomer Sooner.
Former Oklahoma football defensive back Jeremiah Cordell has accepted a graduate assistant position at the University of South Florida coaching defensive backs. Cordell was sidelined in February of 2022 due to injuries, but finished his time as a Sooner as a defensive assistant. The madness is almost over as the NCAA basketball Final Fours are set. The men's Final Four will feature 3 first-time participants for the first time since 1970. Florida Atlantic takes on San Diego State and Miami plays UConn. The women's Final Four will feature Iowa and LSU and the winner of tonight's Elite 8 games. Maryland and South Carolina tip off the night at 6 p.m. The Oklahoma City Thunder traveled to Portland Sunday night in a matchup with the Trailblazers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the team with 31 points, and rookie Jalen Williams put up 23 points of his own. The Thunder stormed past the Trailblazers 118-112 and currently sit in the last play-in spot with just 7 games remaining. Jimmy and Amaya, back to you.
Thanks, Piers. Sunday night was the Miss Oklahoma USA competition where a new queen was crowned.
And one of OU Natalie's very own had a very special night. More when we come back.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
And at the OU Nightly Update Desk. This just in from the Capitol, the House has voted to censure Representative Dean Davis 81-9 after his arrest last week. Davis was arrested in Bricktown for public intoxication. He was booked into the Oklahoma County Jail and then voted at the Capitol hours later. Davis was absent from the House floor today. Amaya, Jimmy.
Thanks, Emery. Last night, the Miss Oklahoma competition was held, and our own Liv Walbeck was a contestant in the competition.
That's right. Liv is our Monday News Center producer, and last night we got to see her in a whole different light.
And we're proud to say she not only won for Best Interview, but she is also now your crowned Miss Oklahoma USA 2023. And before we are done with the show, let's get one last look at the weather.
Braden, what can we prepare for this week?
Well, guys, it's shaping up to be a beautiful evening. If you have dinner plans and you want to go out and about and enjoy it, temperatures will be a little on the cooler side, so make sure you grab a light jacket. But as we look at the next 7 days, you can see temperatures start to warm up, especially toward the end of the week, with that storm system pushing through with some severe weather before things clear out by the weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Braden. And thank you all for watching OU Nightly. I'm Amaya Ward.
And I'm Jimmy Wicks. Be sure to watch OU Nightly live weekdays at 4:30. Good night.
Prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep.